Why, hello everybody. Welcome back to more Tales of Arise. Let's continue.
I didn't realize Renans oppressed their own kind, too.
And yet, weirdly, none of them seem to mind. Am I the only one who finds that strange?
It is the way things have always been, so no one thinks to question it. You have experience in that regard yourself, do you not?
Unquestioning acceptance of your own servitude. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Even so, the quality of life here seems much higher than any Danon city we visited. I used to think it was impossible to build an ideal society without wealth. But I suppose having it doesn't always mean people are treated fairly either.
More to the point, not a single citizen seems to have even heard of the Red Woman. What if she's not here? What if it turns out we're looking in the wrong place entirely?
It's still too early to say anything for sure.
For all we know, she might be able to blend in, move around unnoticed. I say we hold off judgment until we've exhausted every avenue.
Tell me, Dohalim, has that skill of yours got a name?
And what skill would this be, pray tell?
You know, when you're talking to people around town. The way they suddenly become putty in your hands.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow.
I do. It's called friendly intimidation. Look imposing and speak in a deep, booming voice, and presto, you'll have people wrapped around your finger in no time.
I would never stoop to such scandalous tricks. Any feelings of intimidation are solely in the eye of the beholder.
So there is a knack to it! How do you learn it? Can anyone do it?
Now you've got me curious. Is there special training to master?
Let's see. An obsession with being elegant is a must.
Oh my god.
And it helps to be old-fashioned, too. Bonus points if you speak in a way no one can understand.
If you've a bone to pick with me, be quick to just come out and say it.
What? They look up to you, that's all. I'm just helping them along.
Hey! What's got into Alvin and Law all of a sudden? I can barely understand a word they're saying. And what's with the weird poses? Was it something they ate?
I hope you're willing to take the blame for this one.
I wasn't expecting them to take me so seriously. I'll go and have a word with them.
Jesus Christ. You know, it's so crazy to see Dohalim being like the target when these skits when they're not directly just, you know, the characters just talking to each other. He was like the actual target. Which, you know, it's really funny they bring that up, because Dohalim just has that talent of just being able to talk to people. If this was a D&D game, Dohalim would be the bard. You want to know which lord I support? Why? Are you canvassing out for someone? I'm with His Excellency, Rosely Tililius. You probably know him better as Lord Bolsef. I know a lot of people consider him to be a giant brute, believe me. I realize he can be an aggressive man. What those people don't realize is how much he looks after the members of his house. It's fair to say that his house doesn't enjoy much esteem. Those of us who serve it will be the first to admit that. But His Excellency always stands up against any who would mean us harm. Of that we can be sure. His efforts in the crown contest aren't only for his family, but to improve the standing of each and every member of his house. I owe so much to His Excellency, I could never dream of serving any other lord. Balsif, really? That's an interesting perspective. The guy just seemed kind of like an asshole.
Care about someone other than himself? Really?
It's possible. A change in position can do much to alter one's perspective.
So even he might have had something he wanted to protect.
Lord Dohalim, you've returned. Ah, and I see you've brought aides with you. Do you remember who I am, my lord? Surely you must, yes. Not only do I support your house, but more specifically his lordship personally. So much so I've been trying to share my appreciation of his lordship to anyone who will listen. In fact, I was planning to publish my extensive writing on the subject through this very terminal for all those to read. But since the lines appear to be cut due to the recent tumult, I've been unable to upload them. I know, since you're all here, I'll just read them aloud. Oh, I ain't reading all this. No, fuck you. Oh, Jesus. I know, I'm not gonna sit here and read out Dohalim getting jerked off. Oh, okay, they really jerking him off. Thank you. What did you think, my lord? I poured my heart into it to capture your essence. Wait, I forgot to mention anything about his lordship's love of collecting things. I must take this time while the lines are down to append it. Only then will my masterpiece be complete.
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance.
I shall refrain from commenting.
Well, I never. To think anyone would tear me away from House Vakiris. What do you want? Don't tell me you work for Lord Dohalim or that dreadful Lord Almeida, do you? You don't? Well, don't scare me like that. To answer your question, I come from a family that has served House Vakiris for years. Indeed, I'm doing all I can to support Lord Ganabelt behind the scenes so he might emerge victorious. Many think him to be a cruel man, but I insist they're utterly mistaken. Though I won't deny he can't be strict, he puts Rena's interests first, and center like no one else. Why he advocates that rather than stay confined to Linus, we should get on with the colonizing of Dana and expand our horizons. That way we will become both masters of both worlds and overturn our current minority status on the Danan surface. That is why he seeks to become our next sovereign. Tell me, is there a greater, more noble ambition than that? I think not. It is a pursuit of power, of the advancement of all of our kind. It is what makes him an exemplary lord, a model above all others. Though I was unable to accompany him myself, my two sons have been blessed with the honor of joining him on the surface. As their father, it fills me with endless pride. Cool. That jackass.
Ganabelt was so horrible to people, yet he was invested in helping Rena succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Rena.
It seems like Ganabelt also had people he cared about until the very end.
So why couldn't he extend that to us Danans?
Oh yeah, people. I mean, he might have had time to if you hadn't uppercut the motherfucker into a ceiling. Just throwing it out there, you kind of cut his life short with that shit. Like, I'm not saying he would have turned the corner super fucking fast, but I'm also not going to sit here and also say that, you know, uppercutting him.
As badly damaged as that other district we went through.
Indeed, the effects of Lenegis's transformation appear to be less pronounced here. Or, viewed another way, this area was simply luckier.
Pardon me.
This area falls under the sole jurisdiction of House Canaris. I ask that you must depart at once. Surely you don't claim to be ignorant of our famed house, ruled over by the esteemed Lord Almedria. If so, I urge you to listen well. In fact, I bid you listen carefully regardless. Have you ever noticed how in the history of Lenegis, only a few women lords have emerged to compete in the crown contest? Many have theories as to why this might be, but Lord Almedria quashed the doubts of any naysayers through sheer might. In fact, not only did she usurp her father and previous family master, she also removed her older brother to claim the seat for herself. She is a woman who stops at nothing to get what she wants, who gives her enemies nary the slightest opening to strike. Truly, Lord Almedria is a woman of talent. No one in all Rena better exemplifies the virtues of our nation's meritocracy. Soon the age of glorious women sovereign reigning over Lenegis shall be upon us at last. Yeah, I'm gonna go on and say no.
I guess her willingness to stoop to any low came from a survival of the fittest worldview.
And some people here not only shared her belief, but championed it as morally right too.
That doesn't make it true. Too bad they couldn't see through her.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
How loathsome. Oh. I was just reading about Volran. Can I help you? I was always an ardent supporter of Lord Myself, were it not for his sudden death down on the surface, I likely still would be. In my eyes, he is the true Water Lord. I don't believe for a second that he perished in some accident like they say. As for how Volran loves Ganatharos, don't get me started. I hear he enslaves not only Danans, but his fellow Renans as well. We may live in a society where to the victory goes the spoils, but his actions go against what we as a people stand for. Besides, just what sort of family line is this House Ignissari anyways? I've never heard of it until he came along, which means they must be among the lowest dregs of society. That such an ignoble lineage could suddenly produce an astral artist capable of ascending to lordship is unheard of. None of it makes any sense, not to mention all the upheaval around here as of late. What is happening to our people? Cool.
It seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volran either.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganatharos changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary, remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
When you think about it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently than the rest of us.
Yeah, despite the brutality they're known for.
They must have had a lot on their shoulders, carrying all the weight and responsibilities of Renan society.
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy, so they tend to grow up fiercely competitive. But their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside forces, and nothing exemplifies that more than the Lords.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of Renna, so to speak.
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you, because we're threats to Renna.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we thought.
So, Alphen, have you gained anything from all of this?
Yeah. I think it's made me realize that the Lords were all people, too. Balsif and the others, they all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through life.
Yeah, but still, just because they had loved ones in their lives doesn't mean...
I know. What they did was horrible. I'm not trying to dispute that. But at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. They were individuals, just like the rest of us. So I guess what I'm trying to say is...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or because they were terrible monsters. Even if they did terrible things, they were still just people.
Rinwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Danon doesn't make you a good person. And being a Renan doesn't make you a bad one. I think that's something we've all seen.
Shion and Dohalim definitely make a good case for it.
And I'm going to keep doing my best to make sure I earn that trust, as a fellow human being above all else.
Nice. Alright, game, where do you want me to go now? Actually, it probably isn't even here, is it? It's probably somewhere in this other area. If I'm to put a fine number on it, which I will, because why the fuck not? It probably is somewhere in this area. Ah, god damn it. All these jumpable surfaces, and you can't jump on most of them. The fucking shame that is. Item? Item! Nice. Fantastic. I like it. Give me stuff!
There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, right? In which case, the current sovereign of Renna should be whoever it was that won the previous contest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, who was it then?
Hanfricht Milgras, the former lord of Cislodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfreaked whatchamacallem
He's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on Lenegus?
I guess over holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the sovereign that came before him.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegus from the motherland, sovereign or otherwise.
And that never struck you as a little bit odd?
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies. The question is then, by whom? And to what end?
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest, meaning each victor is awarded their very own. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelagian, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly, I'm not even sure what to believe anymore.
You and me both. Though we are Renin by blood, neither of us even knew that such a thing as a Dark Master Core existed, remember?
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here chatting about it then. Let's get a move on.
Yeah, but okay, so what? Honestly, it wouldn't, well, I mean, I was gonna say it wouldn't surprise me if the Renis Alma was just people. You know, like dead lords. But that doesn't seem to be the case, because we just made a Renis Alma and no one had to die. But that makes even less sense. Why go through the trouble of having this massive contest if you're just gonna kill whoever makes it to the top?
Faria.
Varia? Isn't that the person that Avakir guy was...
But why are you here? Wait, don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest and come crawling back home from Dana already. Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord, you still... kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you wait until I'm finished.
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that Danon rock, you haven't changed one bit. But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace, then so be it.
Dohalim, what the hell are you saying?
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. But you must wait. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do whatever brings you peace.
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to witness that.
Is it true? What she said about you killing someone?
Each of us have our pasts. I am no exception.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne. Is that what she meant?
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last. I will say no more.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence in Menancia. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek answers to. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.
Yeah, but like, I'll be real with you. Like, she's talking about like, you need to take care of this and you're just a coward. Like, bitch, why don't you kill me then? Oh wait, you can't. Like, I'm sorry. If you're not able to do the dirty work yourself, which she clearly isn't, because it's not like she'd be able to overpower Dohalim and kill him herself. Dohalim would have to literally sit there and let her do it. At that point, I have to wonder, what right do you have to claim that you have any right to kill me anyways? Look, I'm not really all about the survival of the fittest nonsense. I kind of feel like that mentality just kind of becomes a warped fucking comical version of itself. Because nobody in the history has ever had that philosophy without turning it into an absolute shithole. Like, yeah, on its face, it sounds like an okay philosophy, but you know, once you scale that philosophy up to any size beyond just, you know, a personal mentality, it kind of becomes a self-defeating prophecy. Because if it's all about survival of the fittest, right? If you have a colony of 20 people, right, and you believe in survival of the fittest will survive, well, you're gonna be left with a colony of 1. Inevitably. Because they're all gonna kill each other. That's what survival of the fittest is. They're just gonna kill each other. You can't create a functioning world that way.
Wow, this place is beautiful.
Yeah, it must be some sort of rest and leisure area for the locals.
You think? Man, these Renin sure know how to live it up, don't they?
Is something the matter, Dohalim?
Before I went down to Dana, my friends and I, we used to gather at this very spot and play music together. Avakir, Faria, and Tarnigan. That was a lifetime ago now.
Tarnigan. He was the one that Faria mentioned, right?
He was once my dearest, closest friend. As well as Faria's betrothed. Despite Faria's lower-class upbringing, she possesses a tremendous talent for music. Entranced by her playing, I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority and introduced her to Tarnigan and Avakir. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music, with no care for social standing. Only the next song, the next melody.
A friendship based on mutual respect, and a society where everyone is a prisoner to their social class. You really are different, Dohalim.
I suppose it's natural you would see it as strange.
I would have, once. Now, I think the idea of breaking away from society's constraints and choosing your friends based solely on affection is something beautiful that's worth cherishing. Besides, it was that way of looking at the world that laid the foundations for coexistence in Menancia.
Your praise does me too great an honor. I was merely following the wishes of my own heart. And even then, it only lasted until the crown contest began. After that, Tarnigan and I became fierce competitors for the position of Lord. Tarnigan had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origins and raise her to the highest echelons of society. But fate was not so benevolent.
What happened?
Tarnigan was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't have stood a chance. But he was desperate and low on options. and he couldn't stand the thought of defeat.
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think... Wait. Don't tell me she doesn't know.
How could I tell her? Combined with the trauma of losing her beloved, and by her friend's hand, no less. She would have been devastated.
So instead you let her go on hating you, so she could use that hate as a crutch for her grief?
That's not the same as running away, though.
It is exactly the same. Unable to face the loss of my friend and the burden of my duty. Instead, I decried my fate and looked away from what I'd done. As for what happened after, that you already know.
But if you hadn't become Lord, Menancia wouldn't be what it is now. The Danans there would still be suffering under Renan oppression like before.
Shion's right. What other lord would have treated me as you did? Anyone else and I would have been dead long ago. You've saved so many people, Dohalim. You saved me. It's thanks to you that I'm here today. So, try not to blame yourself. The burden you've placed on your own shoulders is too much for anyone to bear.
Frank as always. But I shall do my best to heed your advice.
Do you think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think so. He's got Kisara.
It's important to have someone like that.
I didn't realize how difficult it is just to be there for someone.
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shion. I promise he does.
I hope you're right.
Oh, I have a bad feeling about
I never
this.
appreciated until recently just how much you were always there to support me.
It goes both ways. You've helped me.
Oh, sorry.
Going more times than I can count.
Maybe, but I still wanted to say thank you.
Oh, okay. Alright, so I can get all kinds of new... Well, I would be able to get all kinds of new weapons if I, you know... had shit to sit... Well, I think I don't want to get... I don't know what I actually need. That's the problem. I don't want to get rid of anything. If something's just going to require me to get rid of a weapon. Alright, so keep the... Okay, fair enough. Alright, I think the majority of this stuff I could probably get rid of, like you. Alright, that's not as much money as I was hoping for, but it's still more than what I had. Gladius Edge. Cadis Renee. The you. And you. Alright. All new weapons.
I see a medic and supply officer.
Although I probably will also need armor, which I don't currently have any new armor, so that's gonna suck dick. So I'm probably gonna have to wait till I get some more money before I could go buy it.
Offer their assistance.
I need money. Give me money. Or not. That's fine. Fuck you. I don't want the money anyways. Alright, we'll head through here. Fuck it. I guess I'll go a little further before I wrap up this episode. We're already at 30 minutes, so fuck. Oh, hello.
Lenegis soldiers.
Any way we can avoid fighting them?
That all depends on them. Whatever happens, be ready.
Well,
Looks like not.
not wanting to fight.
Ho! I am Lord Dohalim of Elder Menencia. I command you.
The rest of the city must be erased.
No. Have they been brainwashed too?
Brainwashed enough.
If they want to fight, they got one.
Its armor's too strong.
Take this.
Be my guest.
Now you see what I can do.
My shield.
Astral Arts?
Shut him down. Demon Prey.
Light burst forth.
Get fucked. Get into the sky.
Look sharp. Lightning punch.
Those soldiers seem different from the citizens we've come across so far.
Yeah, they weren't big talkers, that's for sure. They just attacked without warning.
They weren't in the least bit fazed by Dohalim's presence either.
Indeed. They seem to recognize us as enemies, nothing more. And yet, traditionally, Lenegis hasn't been high on threats. A few frenzied Zeugles during experiments here and there, but not much else.
Their glazed-over eyes reminded me of the soldiers and slaves we met back in Ganath Haros. The ones in blind devotion to Volron.
I've never seen anything like that here on Lenegis before.
Maybe someone doesn't want us here, and the soldiers are their way of letting us know.
What with the Red Woman, the Sovereign, and Volron, we're starting to develop quite the growing list of adversaries. At least we'll know to keep our wits about us.
Alright. I'm gonna end this here for now, because I've gotta go, Actually, I'm gonna beat these guys up real quick. Fuck them.
Discourteous, aren't you?
Demon Prey. You're mine. You're finished.
Can't get out of this. Leave the ensnaring to me. Yeah, and the pummeling to me. You require a hand. Shine, radiant light. Regeneration. Regenerate. No arts are being interrupted. Captivity. Elusive deity. Can you take it over?
Astral energy!
Say no more. Not a chance.
Can you take it?
Nice. Good stuff.
I've been doing really great lately.
Yay, more stuff. Fantastic. More items. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap this episode up with that, I think. Cause, yeah, I'll stop here for now. I think here's a good spot for now. I will see you all next time with more Tales of Arise, everybody. Oh, hello. That's a big boy, isn't he? He's a biggin'. Holy shit, he's huge. I mean, he's gonna have to die, but he's still huge. Anyways, guys, stay tuned. I'm signing out.